Let me just set my timer. All right. I don't have a second speaker to respond to, but so I'm just going to be trying to re-emphasize some of the points that the leader of opposition has already made, and to maybe add an extension to that. So basically what the opposition is here to argue against today is sanctuary cities in the United States. And again, I mean, I want to just, I'm reinstating what the leader of opposition said, is that this is sort of like a better, the best way, we want to encourage cooperation with the government, essentially, because this is a far more efficient way to better manage national security and order and peace within the city. That this protects locals and immigrants, that it works in favor of legal and illegal immigrants, that I'll explain in a minute. Because, so basically, let's get right to it. So you have, as my partner emphasized, a lot of educated immigrants are, they usually don't need to enter the country illegally because they have different ways of coming in. They can get a job or scholarship, they apply to study in university. But you have illegal immigrants like refugees or just people who are looking for a better life. But the problem is that when these immigrants are unchecked, when they're not inquired about, when the United States doesn't know where they are, how many they are, or who they are, then it allows for sort of corruption to thrive, or it allows for things to go wrong. So if there's prostitution or drugs or anything of that sort, or crime, immigrants going unchecked can allow us to harm both the immigrants themselves and inhabitants of the city. And also it can, so not only checking crime and the like, but also in the case of, for example, the coronavirus, you have, if the government is better aware of where these people are, who they are, it can check in with them and like it can track the virus better and it can help them with their healthcare needs. And that's also an important point, that illegal immigrants have a lot more needs. They don't have any security. They're possibly uneducated, most likely uneducated. They don't have a family, they don't have a community. They need a support system. And without that support system, that's how these things thrive, right? So that support system can only be provided by the government and by the city, with a force that is actively asking after. And I want to just point to something the Prime Minister said. He called it a problematic situation because it was a privacy issue. The opposition thinks this is harassment. To come over and over and over and to bother immigrants. What we're advocating is sort of just having a system that checks in with immigrants, that you want to inquire about their status, register them in the system, have reports written, sort of know what's going on within the city so you can manage the city better. We do not advocate any form of harassment or psychological harm, mental or physical harm, or anything of that sort. We don't want to create a sense of fear. We just want to make sure that these immigrants are looked out for. We want to make sure that we know what's going on and we can manage the city in a better way. And I mean, these illegal immigrants and legal immigrants, all immigrants, come to the United States in search of a better life. They want to maybe make money, or they want an education, or they want a peaceful life. They left something behind and they came to the United States for that. And if the United States, how else would they provide it to them if they don't even know that they're present? I mean, as a young man, he comes to the United States, he's like, I want to build a life here. How can the United States give that to him if they don't know that he's present and they can't provide for him and cater to his needs? So if immigrants want a better life and they come to the United States asking for that, we believe that by opposing this motion, the opposition will be giving them exactly that we will be giving them a better life. And the government also mentioned how people, they come to from other countries to work and contribute, and if they stop coming, that the country will suffer. The opposition doesn't really get how inquiring after the status of immigrants is going to stop them from coming. The opposition just believes that the United States should better monitor and track and keep a more organized system of all these people who are coming in, because that way they can treat them better. They can give them their rights. They can cater to their needs. They can give them security. They can care for their health. They can ensure that they don't fall into crime or prostitution or drugs, or they don't die because of a virus that was unchecked, because the United States doesn't even know that they exist within their borders, within that said city, right? So again, I just want to emphasize that, I mean, the opposition thinks that should, of course, you can have, the point of having a committee or whatever, I think you're just really supporting our point here, because I think the government does agree that we have to inquire after the status of the immigrants, but what the opposition is saying is that the most effective, efficient, and quick way to get this done is to have city employees, to have the police, to have everyone on the ground actively trying to keep the system updated, and to track who's coming in and who's going out, and who the immigrants are, where they are, how many they are, so that the United States can treat those immigrants better and give them the better life that they wanted. I rest my case. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank the Deputy Leader of Opposition for their fine words. I now call on the Member of Government to continue the case for Shaikh. Government, here.
Yes, so I'm starting now. So first of all, I want to say something to Mr. Mehdi, the first speaker for open and opposition. When we talk about illegally immigrants or legal immigrants, actually, we should know when we say refugees, it means that they are coming, yes, without in an illegal way, in a not normal way, like anyone can come by plane or by passport. And this is also being a refugee, an immigrant refugee is also nationally acceptable. It is nationally acceptable that these people are in hard situation. For the sake of humanity, we can let them enter. So the basic point that we are talking about right now is there is a huge amount of unjustified reasons of hate against immigrants, if they are legal or illegal. Even when we talk about illegal ones, they are actually internationally, in an international aspect, they are accepted to be welcomed as well, because the immigrant status is a human being who did not choose the place. No one in this world, even if you are from the third world or the first world, you did not choose the place where you are in, where you were born in, sorry. So, but you choose the place where you want to continue your life in. So I want to finish my life and continue my life in a country where I accept the policies there, where I like more the life there, because my country that I belong to, if it has a war, I do not feel peace. I do not feel having my rights in that war. And if we speak about a normal immigrant who is just like changing his country just because of the policies, the political side of his, politically or socially, or of his, or social life of his country, also this human being has the will, has the right to change his country. So when if we talk about immigrant is just a human being who has the right, wherever he is living, even if he is a US for American guy, he wants to be an immigrant to Middle Africa, he can go there as well. So just if he is a human being who did not accept this status of his life, of his country that he belongs to, so he wants to change. I cannot take questions right now. So he wants to change his path in his life. So first of all, yeah, so even when we talk about, like I mentioned, when we talk about illegal immigrants are actually legal as well, because they went just through a way that is not that is not known, or that is hard, another way, not an official way. Yes, this is the word, not an official way. So that's why we support the sanctuary cities due to the huge amount of unjustified reasons of hate against immigrants. And this hate actually was more and more came up to the scene when Trump came. And here we can see from the day that Trump came, and he started showing his hate against these immigrants, if we call them illegal or legal, even the legal ones who are coming to build America and make America great again, as he calls it. So they are also people. So we can see his failure from gun laws to laws against immigrants. Also, these immigrants are given a good economic impact. It has an advantage. So we can see a lot of people, for example, Khan Academy, he is a person, a huge businessman. There are a lot of businesses made by immigrants. And before few years, we saw how Trump made some countries like Yemen. He stopped anyone coming from having that passport from entering the USA. So it means there is a huge hate just against any immigrant, which is illegal, which is against humanity, that you do not allow to to host these people who are coming either for education, as you are calling, open in opposition, both of you speakers, you are calling for, like, there is application for education, for work. So there is this, but also it is faced by hate by the government, the USA government. That's why we are highly and proudly supporting these cities, sanctuary cities. Because and even when you are speaking about coronavirus, and we cannot know how many people are there in that city, in these cities they have the right to have the health care or education and so on, even if they are illegally, if they are refugees coming from war, entering without passport, let's say, to mention it very clear what is illegally we mean it, because coming from war, they lost everything, money, passports, documents, official documents. So when they enter, they can they can have an impact, they can yes, they can get the social life, but they are in these cities, sanctuary cities that we are supporting them. They are not going to be asked about these immigrants. They are not going to be asked about their status by the police or the employees. So they are more free, having a free life, even they are not having the documents. And if we call something illegal, we can say how the USA is going and making, like, the majority of refugees are coming from the Middle East countries or Africa or Asia, just because where the place, especially focusing on the Middle East, where the USA is putting its hand illegally there in many things, and there we do not focus in that issues. We do not focus about being illegal, but when it comes to refugee, a human being, a weak human being coming to that country, and even you did not check the list of the statistics about the drugs, who is using the drugs, who are they, the immigrants or not. So you should know who are using first, because immigrants are not the ones who are really going in the bad side, as you are just imagining that immigrant means drugs and crimes. So you should see the statistics first and then speak about it. And as I said, we are not focusing about the USA's illegal hands in the other countries, and we are focusing about the weak people who are internationally having the right to enter to that country.
I'd like to thank the member of government for their fine speech. As soon as it hits 7:30, I have to stop everyone from speaking. Sorry about that. So to continue, I call on the member of opposition to continue your case for side opposition. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes, perfectly audible.
Okay, cool. I'll start in 10 seconds. Okay, I'll start in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so panel, let's first understand why principal ground perspective is important in this debate. First of all, what we are trying to debate here is that the government is trying to inculcate the immigrants by going against the democracy, like giving giving the benefits to the immigrants, or trying to inculcate them into the rest of the public by going against democracy. Now, why they are going against democracy? In order to prove that to you, let us first think like this. When a government is elected, it is elected on basis of some points, some basis, some agendas. Now, what are those? The public deserves the right to preserve their culture. Why? Because the government which is elected is bound to benefit the voters which are voting them, and hence they deserve the right to preserve their culture, which is coming from time and from ancient time. Now what they also deserve is they deserve the right to opportunities, right to job employment, right to get jobs, right to a safe space where they can live with proper safety and without any harm that can be caused to them. Now what this move will lead to is that the influx of migrants in the sanctuary state will increase. Now how they will increase, I'm going to tell you. They will increase because when a lease is given, like there will be no check on there's no check on whether you are a immigrant or not. There will be a free hand to carry on whatever activities which can be done illegally, and there will be a great influx of illegal immigrants trying to promote illegal activities and all those which are mentioned by the opening opposition also. So those activities will increase by a very large amount due to the excess migrant influx which will be there in these sanctuary states. Now, what will this lead to? This will lead to a very chaotic situation in the sanctuary state, where there will be crimes, where there will be a lot of illegal activities. Now, let us compare two stakeholders in this debate. The first stakeholder is the local people of the sanctuary state, which are there from the very beginning, and the second stakeholder is the legal migrants which are facing the discrimination. Now I'm going to show you that how the harm which the government is trying to show is very mitigated, while the harm which we are trying to show that uh, by going ahead to sanctuary state is very big and very emphasized. Now, what are the harm which other government is trying to propose? That the legal migrant will face discrimination, right? They are going to face discrimination on a very small basis. Why? Because what we are trying to propose here is that our counter proposition model, instead of making a sanctuary state, what we are saying is that we should we should make our anti-discrimination laws more strict and give incentives to improve the diversity in the employment which already exists in the present situation. Now what will this lead to is that the legal immigrants which are there, they will get to be involved in a better manner, and people will get to know them without any sense of fear which was there in the government's paradigm. Why? Because if a person knows that that he can be he's living without a sense of proper identification, know that his employer does not know something about it, and so if someday he comes to know about it, then what is going to happen? So that inherent sense of fear will be there within him, and so that fear is not there in our paradigm when we give incentives to the organizations to improve the diversity and hire employees from various regions, including immigrants. So what this is leading to? This is leading to our the primary stakeholder which we are trying to portray here is the local people which are living in the city, and the secondary stakeholders, legal migrants, are facing discrimination. What we are proposing in a model is that the benefit is there to both the stakeholders. And what the government is proposing is that only the legal migrants are getting some benefit, and the city people are getting a very big disadvantage in the form of various crimes being increased, a lot of illegal activity in cities, and many more which I've already mentioned in the first part of my speech. Now, hence, we have showed to you that both the stakeholders are being benefited in our paradigm. Now, the opening government raised a point that they will form a committee, which will function by checking like the various things, like on a basis of 2 years or 3 years, something time frame which they pointed. Many flaws were there. First of all, they if you check on 2 to 3 years, it will be very easy for the illegal immigrants to do the illegal activities in a place for some time and then move to another sanctuary state. So it is extremely flawed, and the security issues will still prevail in their paradigm. Number two, what is the second flaw in their committee is that there was no a certain clarification on how it will be founded. Like, will it could be biased, it could have some inherent presumptions and all those things, which can lead to worsening of the situations for the legal immigrants too. And number three, the third flaw will be they did not tell whether it would be a part of the government or it would not be a part of the government. If it would be a part of government, the closing opposition said that the government also, has in some cases hate against the immigrants. So if it would be part of government, again, it is problematic. And if they are without, if they are independent of the government, how will the funding and how the resources will they get were also not clarified. So the committee which they are talking about is extremely problematic, and no clarification has been mentioned whatsoever. So this is a very problematic situation if this committee comes into power. Now, what we tell you is that our model, which we are proposing to incentivize the employers to, improve the conditions, is extremely beneficial for both our stakeholders, that is the local city people as well as the legal immigrants who are facing discrimination, and the illegal immigrants which are there in this, which are there for responsible for all the crimes and illegal activities, will be punished in our paradigm, and very proud to oppose. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank the member of opposition for their fine words. I now call on the government whip to close the case for side government. Hear, hear.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, we can start. I think one of the most important problems today is these people are considered illegally. That is not mean they are criminals or something. The thing is that America considers them as illegal because America doesn't give them like immigrant status to them. That's it. That's the thing. So, like for example, opening proposition, Mehdi says that like these people are illegal persons that come from outside, like which international law does not allow them. So and opposition side keeps saying that. So guys, what do you expect from a person like who lives in Syria or Libya? What they're gonna do? They will go to visa procedures and as if nothing happens there, and try to take their immigrant status. And America probably won't give that. So actually, the case in that motion is Trump's government do not care about those people's situation. So that's why the sanctuary cities are trying to find solution for those people who suffered from war, who victims of war, and that cities are trying to find solution for those people in their own way. So that's the case today. These people, yeah, they are illegal immigrants, but they are not criminals or something. And I believe opposition exaggerates about increasing crimes, etc. And that's people among about being these people criminals. That's, I think that's they're exaggerating that, because of policies, jurisdiction, courts, that's institutions still working. That they will arrest if those persons who come to the city, if they are drug cartel or killer or something. Still, that institutions are working on, because they are governing a city. You know, they try to keep they are try to keep the safety stable. That's the thing. So the things that you're trying to explain, like coordination, like safety, is nothing but accepting Trump's government's hate against the immigrants. And that's the thing. I think you're talking like all of those peoples are criminals, like killers, or I don't know, or like drug cartels comes from the like Mexico or something. But actually that people are living in the like more Middle Eastern countries, or more, you know, in more Eastern countries, who like suffered from war, or that's kind of stuffs. So that's the also thing. I think as a USA we have like ethical responsibility on those people, because mostly, particularly those people who comes as immigrants and who cannot take immigrant status, they are specifically comes from the countries where the like USA supports, like, or USA being there as an army, or USA supports its actors economically in its proximity wars. That's geographies, or the countries where the USA stay against them politically, like Palestine. So we believe as an American people, we have an ethical responsibility on them. We should protect those people. So that's why the sanctuary cities, they are trying to help those people, because the Trump's government only exists from the hate. So the Trump's try to, even Trump, he's saying himself, like he's saying that they are not even a human, they are animals. He was saying that, he was using that insult against these people. He really don't care about those people. So that's why he's trying to help those people. And those, the people in those cities. So that's the thing. They are not illegal. They are not illegal persons. And also, yeah. So that's, I think it's not realistic. But to be realistic, I also accept that. Okay, that's might be some, like, you know, that might be some like criminals. That's kind of a people also can come to the cities. But I think with the cooperation of like courts and policies, the government, that states institutions can arrest that people. And I mean, the benefits in like accepting immigrants from those cities is much like bigger than your explanation. So I think we're exaggerating, like everyone comes to the cities are like criminals, and they have, you know, very bad past about like their about being criminals. So I think that's a not realistic case. Also, we can, I think we should check that's people's situation, where they came from, and what they suffered, and what happens in their geography. That's an important point, and that's why as those cities, these cities are trying to protect those people. Okay, Noor, you can come up with your, yeah.
Yes, we want to emphasize that not all, but many of these people lack the necessary support system and so fall into poverty and thus easily crime and the like. We don't condone hate or discrimination or actions of the Trump administration, and want to know who these people are so we can help them, not arrest them, but to inquire after immigration status. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't quite understand your question, but I mean, and these people are they are in the other part of America. They are being discriminated from the people, and that's why they are feeling safety there. And I believe not just like the current wars and etc. Also, like historically, we are like exploit those people's like natural sources. I mean, as America, and you know, we are making wars. We are making all our like duties there in their geography. And also, I think we are like as a global. Also, we are as America, we are claiming that. No. I have 1 minute left, by the way. I think as in America, we are claiming being like international policies of the world, right? We are claiming that. So that's why I think we need to show that responsibility, because we're claiming some things. all like around the world. So I think we are destroying the lives of those people as a like environmental powers in the world, like Russia, like America or China. So that's why I think we need to care about these people's problems. So if we how do you say, so as those cities try to stay against Trump's hate against immigrant people. And what else? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's why yeah, it's our session is more like, you know, ethical points, and we are giving some okay, that's all. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the government whip for their fine words. I now call on the opposition whip to close the debate as a whole. Hear, hear.
Am I audible to all?
Yep.
Cool. So I will start in about a second. Put me on the timer. Yep. So 3, 2, 1, and start. So 3 things to talk about in this debate. First, how do we clearly principally win in this debate? Secondly, how our extension caters to the most important stakeholder in this debate? And thirdly, why does the opening opposition clearly face in opening the stakeholder? Why does both the governments clearly fail in proving their burdens? And finally, why do we win from the opening opposition also? So, people, before that, let's come to a few things that the CC talk about. So they come up and say that, you know, these illegal migrants have these illegal migrants are not illegal, or they won't do crimes or stuff. First of all, they can do crimes, which is a significant portion. So you can't ensure that all of these are like bar-ridden criminals or stuff. There might be some portion of criminals within them. That's why the illegal barrier has been crossed, and so they might be criminals. Secondly, on the point of that, them not being in record is more important, because it increases the responsibility on the police or stuff on finding the right criminals, which is a big deterrent. Thirdly, on the point of why these people are not maybe not be criminal in the first place, but what we have to understand is that what we are doing here, we are saying to all illegal migrants that come to our city, you are completely safe. You won't be inquired. You won't be have any sort of questions. So what we are doing is incentivizing every illegal migrant, every maybe a criminal, maybe a stuff. We are encouraging all to come in our city. What happens is that the illegal migrants influx increases, and when the illegal migrants influx increases, who are the most of these illegal migrants? Those are the criminals, because they can't go into other cities. They have the incentive to come into this city itself, and that's why the problem increases. We are reducing the deterrence for criminals to come into our city. We are playing with the lives of our security of our principal things. Secondly, on the principal way of this debate, and this directly clashes with their argument as well. So they have one argument in their whole speech about the CG, that is that human rights is violated. We are not having human rights first up. Three things first of all, we are not violating human rights. We are giving them a home to live. We are still giving them facilities. So you can't just say that, you know, Trump doesn't like those, so we are violating their human rights. We aren't violating their human rights. We are giving them still giving them basic necessities. We are giving them stuff and stuff. Secondly, we are talking of a very small portion of the people, because there might be those people who are as pointed with opening the question also, who there might be people who are well off, so they are not the only alternative to come into the cities. So it's not that we are violating the human rights. They have also other alternatives in the first place. Thirdly, we already told you that the rights extend till a place where it doesn't harm other people. So when this human rights providing harms other people of not getting the principal not getting the principal rights of their security or stuff, we believe that that's a major harm. Now, what do we tell on this principal issue? So what we tell is the principal actor in this government. So who will take this decision of having this city, state or sovereign city? Those are the government itself. And what is the principal obligation of the government? To help the citizens. As already pointed out by Ankit, we told that how democratic government is obliged to provide citizens. How democratic government has to provide citizens basic food, necessity and stuff. So at this point of time, the government is primarily obliged to provide these citizens. And at this point of time, if the government if we can prove in this debate how these citizens are harmed in this debate, these citizens are harmed, we clearly win this debate on principal grounds. Now, why are these citizens the most important stakeholders? So these citizens are most important stakeholders because number one, they are the inherent inhabitants of those cities. So they are those people who have formed that city itself. So they have the rights of living in that city and stuff. Secondly, we are talking about like these citizens. They are the most vulnerable stakeholders, because we are talking about their culture being impacted. We are talking about their jobs being taken off, and which I am going to talk about this a bit more. So what are we talking about? Why is there a problem to these citizens? So number one, we talk about how illegal migrants flux will increase. What will this happen? The culture will be impacted. Why is the culture being impacted? So we are talking about a large number of migrants coming. If a large number of migrants coming, these migrants have an incentive to form their own groups. They don't need to no longer assimilate with the already present people. So what happens is that the cultural differences exist. So the like basic reason of people avoiding migrants is that the culture is impacted. So these people's culture is impacted. These people have a loss of their culture, and we believe this is really, really, really bad, because it violates the democratic right of these people to preserve their own culture, and we believe this is principally wrong. Secondly, we are talking about a huge amount of migrants, and when there is no like criteria to find out which migrant is good or bad, or which migrant is illegal or legal, what happens is that there is a job loss for these people. What happens is that they don't get enough opportunity as they were getting earlier, and we believe this is principal harm, because they have elected the government to ensure those jobs, and the government is taking the jobs away from them. So we believe this is like incredibly harmful. Now, third thing what we are talking about in this debate is that how the both sides fail to fulfill their budget. So both the government has a budget to fulfill. They had to first tell me that how the government is morally obliged to do this, and we clearly told you why the government is not morally obliged, because the government's own obligation is to harm these citizens, and they are harmed by opportunities, by jobs, by culture and stuff. Secondly, we told you that they had to tell why these people will benefit. So they have no alternatives as well to how these cities will be benefited. The only thing I get, there will be like a committee which works in 2 years. First of all, that committee will not work, because we are talking about people who are external, so they don't like interact with these people, unlike the doctors and teachers who interact with these people. They have more chances of finding out which is illegal and legal, other than their community, which works external, which increases. We are increasing the burden for this committee. We believe that's not going to work. Secondly, we told you that they have not told which type of committee it is. It is government run. Is it state run? Is it like, if it is not state run, where will it get its resources upon? And we believe that's incredibly problematic. Third, on the part of 1 to 2 years, I believe that's not correct, because crimes may happen in like less than that years also. So we are clearly failing to pass those people. Now, why do we win from the opening opposition? So the opening opposition like focuses its debate on why those stakeholders, that illegal migrants, are benefited in our paradigm. We are also like giving them good facilities. But what we lack from the opening government is, first of all, they don't tell why the doctors or like teachers are more likely to have that to have a better tracking. So they don't tell why the mechanism pointed by the side government is directly false. Secondly, what the opening opposition doesn't do is focus on these primary stakeholders. So the only thing we get from them is that they are like having less security. But in our extension, we told you why they are culturally impacted, why their culture has to be preserved, and why the government is morally obliged. So in order to, what we have proved in this debate is that the principal actor of this debate is morally unobliged to do this. Secondly, we proved why the people are morally harmed in not preserving their culture, and practically harming being snatched away of jobs and opportunities. We already told you why the human rights issue that stand in this debate, and in all these grounds, very, very proud to oppose. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for a fine debate. Just give me a few minutes while I look over my notes and give a final ranking and some feedback. Okay. Virtually